if your wife was to take your stack down to the LCS, which you know what to do, my wife's idea of a good quality coin is one that looks pretty.
Hello, silver fans. This is T, and you're in the place to be for silver education, acquisition, and entertainment. And hey, how do you like this little selection of Perth mint silver and even a little bit of gold there? Hey, today I am talking to my friend from down under. His name is Mark, and we're going to talk some silver estate planning. And he's going to show off his awesome collection of Perth mint silver. So, hey, stick around. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. And if you enjoy what Mark and I have to talk about, hit that like button. All right, everybody, let me introduce you to my buddy Mark. T. All right. Hey, Mark, finally I get to meet you and I have a chat face to face, kind of. I appreciate you coming on with me. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate, good.
It's about 7:15 p.m. here. What time is it over there by you?
20 past lunch.
Oh, noon. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you joining me, and you've been a longtime viewer of my channel, and I appreciate that. And we've got some stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, a little bit, mate, a little bit. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. If your wife was to take your stack down to the LCS, which you know what to do.
You know, I've thought about that many times, and I've even had conversations with her about it. And I think the only good thing I have going for me is that I have multiple LCS owners that I know and that I trust. But I would say my situation is very unique because the average guy, wouldn't trust his LCS owner to do right by him.
Yeah, sure, mate, sure. And I'm sort of in the same situation here. When I buy silver, I set up a buying group. So there's probably 10 of us in the group, 6 of us that are really active. So whenever we buy anything, we buy as a group. We get a little bit of a saving. We save on freight, which is just terrible over here.
Yeah.
And we've got an agreement that if one of us was to clock off, the group gets the first dibs at the stack if our loved ones want to get rid of it that way. So basically what we do is we had 2 choices. You can sell it back to an LCS. Over here, the best you're going to get is spot. We don't pay anything above spot, not like what you guys get over there. So what we do is the group gets first dibs at it, and they'll pay retail less a little bit. You know what I mean? So it sort of gets back the premiums. They get a good deal. They know where it's coming from because it's all legit. We all bought it together. Yeah. And that helps us pass it along. But
how long have you known these folks?
A few years, yeah. We've been stacking together now for some a couple of years, some 5, 6 years. But they're all my brothers. You know what I mean?
That's good. That's a good situation to be in because we're all going to face that someday.
Well, we are, mate. And so what I thought I'd do is I've got a lot of time on my hands at the moment. I've got cancer, as you probably know, and
yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, it gives me a little bit of time to think too much, I guess. So what I thought I'd do is put together a how-to guide on how to hand down your stack. So first off, it goes through the simple things like my wife's idea of a good quality coin is one that looks pretty. Yeah, so just know. And my 20-year-old girls are probably less interested than that. So
yeah, I can relate. I've made the attempt to try to get my girls into it. and I haven't given up yet, but you know, they're far more interested in other things.
Oh, mate.
How are you feeling right now, though?
Oh, look, mate, up and down, but no point whinging. We just do what we've got to do, don't we?
Yeah, I hear you, buddy.
Yeah. So on a good point, I've got my little one starting to stack regularly. The older one's a lost cause. Yeah, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So what I thought I'd do is put together a guide on how to do it, and then to get the guide out to people that might find it useful, you know, you can give it to all your members if you wanted to. We'll work out a way that we can host it online and people can download it and so on.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've made a pretty good start on it, but what I'd like to ask the viewers is there anything that they really want to or think that I may not have thought of? For instance, I put it to my bullion dealer the other day, and Matty Thompson.
Yeah.
And
great guy.
Yeah, nice guy, mate. And they said, you want to explain the difference between platinum and silver, because really, if you look at a silver eagle and a platinum eagle, if you didn't know, well, you could quite easily sell a platinum eagle for $40 if you didn't know what platinum was.
Sure.
So the first off is to categorize our stack. And I guess the hardest part of that is what you're into now, which is pouring, which is just a great way to lose money, mate.
Yeah. I'm just at the beginning stages, and I've already bought all kinds of stuff, and it's like every other day I find some stamp or a hammer or something else to buy on Amazon.
Let me tell you, mate, from someone that's melted kilos and kilos and kilos of silver, mate, I've done heaps of it, and I still freak out with gold. You can't melt gold. If your crucible cracks when you're melting gold and it spills all over the bottom of your oven, it doesn't take a lot to lose a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So melt copper.
I appreciate the advice from somebody who's been there and done that.
Yeah. I look at guys like Backyard Bullion, and they pour 100 3-ounce or 100-gram bars, and you think 100, that's 300 ounces of silver that they've bought.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. I watch some of those videos and I just drool because, you know, right here in front of me, I've got a few ounces, and I'm going to go to the LCS tomorrow and buy a few more, and I'm going to kind of piece that out and melt it little by little.
Your stack will start to disappear. Anything with a milk spot goes, yeah, we'll melt that. Oh, that one's got a scratch. And
I was just scavenging through the rounds today, and you know, I'm so picky. I go through the generic rounds. I always look for the vintage, and I'll have a hard time, you know, ever melting that. So I most likely won't ever. But I did find a few buffaloes that are, you know, modern that I don't mind throwing in there to melt.
Can I throw some mathematics at you?
Oh, sure.
A buffalo might cost you, what, $2 over spot?
Okay.
You melt it, and you lose a little bit, maybe 1-2%. So you do lose a little bit. So you melt 2 or 3 of them, and you lose a little bit more. And you pour 100-gram bar.
Okay.
That's cost you $2 over spot just to get the buffaloes. Now, you've taken something that's recognizable that you could sell at an LCS and turn it into a T, the silver stacker bar.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I would love to get my hands on a 3D printer. I've got some ideas of some things that I would love to do, but
that's just the way to do it. Things like the little figurine you bought the other day.
Yeah,
they are better than a generic no-name bar that's stamped by someone that no one knows. You're not going to get spot for that, or you may get spot for that melt value at an LCS if someone tries to sell that later on.
Yeah, the funny thing is, you know, I poured my first attempt at pouring something was a little medallion, and
you know, people came out of the woodwork saying they wanted to buy things from me.
Oh,
and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not even any good yet. But
what are you going to sell
looking
it for?
forward to you know, taking advantage of the fact that I do have viewers and that would pay up to get something, you know, that was made by me by hand, you know, which is cool and flattering as well.
Yeah,
to be honest.
it's going to be $60 an ounce by the time you break even, but bring it on, I'll buy one.
Yeah. Hey, I was watching Pirate Stacker, who's a really great channel. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
The one today where he was talking about the cast bars?
No, I was watching the one where he was basically condensing his stack, and his idea is to sell everything and only buy things that are you know, slabbed, so that way when coincidentally he was having that same conversation on his channel, you know, when he passes, at least his wife will have the advantage of having everything labeled, you know.
It makes sense. I mean, you can buy a little thing like this, but if it's not recognizable, how do you value it? And my wife takes this into a coin shop. Now, I know this is a nice bar, and I know the guy that poured this, and I know what I paid for it. And she's not going to get that, because they're going to look at it and say, who's that? We don't know that. Yes, they've got an XRF machine, which I'll stick it in and go, okay, well, it is silver. We'll give you a spot. And I watched that same video just this morning, and he's absolutely right. And that's when, in the how-to guide, I've broken up our stack into the different categories, like the generic supports, the bullion, the government bullion, even down to paper. That
how long have you been stacking?
Anyway. About 4 years, 5 years.
Okay.
Maybe a little longer. Seriously, probably 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I got into crypto, made a bit out of crypto, and got out when it was reasonable, or got out of a lot of it when it was reasonable, and parked it in some metals, and we'll wait for crypto to boom again, and then we'll hit reset, I guess.
How close are you to finishing your project?
It'll never. The how-to guide, I'm hoping to have it finished by Christmas.
Okay.
And when I do, I'll work out how to host it. I don't know, maybe we put it in a Dropbox or something like that. I'll just make a PDF document and go from there, mate. But yeah, so if anyone can think of anything that they can think of that might be weird and wonderful, like separating platinum from silver, or they've got different ways of getting rid of it that are maybe not conventional, like not going to an LCS, not selling through a buyer's group. Selling on eBay would be an absolute nightmare for my wife.
Yeah,
it'd be a disaster.
I thought of that too, but I don't think the hassle for them would be worth it. One thing that I did think of, Mark, was that, you know, when I had surgery at the beginning of last week, and I literally wrote the combination to my safe, and I left it right on top of the safe. And I thought, if I croak, well, she'll go find the safe, and there's the combo.
You got to do what I do, mate.
Because I didn't want to worry her to death. You know, we were already on edge about the surgery, and thank God it was just a routine surgery and non-eventful. But I thought the what if, the 0.0001 chance something goes wrong.
I hear you.
You know, at least she'll know this combo to the safe and won't have to call somebody up to get in the house. And you know, that whole idea just didn't appeal to me.
There's a thing you go through when you have chemo. You get a thing called chemo haze, and you forget a lot of stuff. So I keep notes on my arms, like there's my kids' birthdays and so on.
Wow.
I'd probably keep my safe combo on there, but someone would cut my arm off probably. So not a good thing. But yeah, so that's all I really wanted to sort of get in touch with you and say, well, if you can think of anything that we need to, and what I'll do is once it's ready, if I can send it over to you for a bit of a proofread.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
And maybe we can touch base after it's finished and get something out that everybody can use, you know, and do it for free and, you know, give back to our community a little bit.
we get on the board with it, and you put out edition 1, and you even more recommendations, pour in. That's the beauty about being electronic. You could always add to it and make it kind of a living document that grows and evolves over time.
Yeah, that's the whole idea behind it, mate. So we'll just do markups each time that someone new or something changes or tax rules change or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, want to see some Australian silver?
Sure. What you got there?
This is the sort of stuff my wife loves.
Okay.
This is pointless. This is super expensive and pretty, and we buy it because we like the looks of it. But yeah, so there'll be a definite category for that sort of stuff.
I've seen some of that stuff that I like, and the packaging though, it just it would take up so much space if I bought half the stuff that I see that I liked. But hey, if the wife likes it, that is more important than anything.
And then just some basic little bars and stuff. And then I got a bunch of Australian stuff from this year I thought I'd pull out and show you. I went over to the vault a bit earlier today and grabbed out some Australian Perth Mint stuff that you guys may not see over there.
Okay, nice.
I don't know if you can see this, if it's coming up okay or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I just bought this new little webcam. I didn't know how good it was going to be. But yeah, just all the different stuff. This is my bread and butter sort of stuff that I try to buy most of. This and bars. But yeah, and then we get into, that's my favorite coin. That was a birthday present.
I was going to ask about that. Is that Perth Mint?
No, that's Germania Mint.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a sweet one. I know a guy, one of my viewers who would love to have something like that.
Yeah, I'm into bees. I like bees. And then just the standard sort of stuff that you guys get. We don't get a lot of generic stuff over here. We get your standard bullions like your eagles and that sort of stuff. We pay way too much for them.
Oh, I bet.
And then we've got like the pretty stuff, the gilded Lunar Series stuff and the painted, and then the fruits underneath that. But keeping up with all these collections gets expensive, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's just some Aussie stuff I thought you might be interested in. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I needed to sort of get off my chest. Try and hopefully get some buy-in for the how-to guide. It's basically a how-to put a how-to guide together.
Well, hey, Mark, I appreciate the time, and it's been a real pleasure chatting with you, and I wish you a great rest of the day.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one, hey?
You too.
Oh, before you go, I need to yell out and say g'day to Don from New Mexico, and I need to say g'day, mate, just so he can practice.
Donald, he's one of my best viewers.
Yeah, he's a good bloke, mate. Good bloke.
Quite a character. Love that guy.
All right, mate.
Well, thanks again, Mark. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, T.
I'm going off the